That's the end of the opening lap. Ardigo, Tonen and Kozlinski the 1, 2 and 3. Ben Hanley was 4th, Paolo De Conto 5th, Rick Drazen 6th, Jordan Lennox-Lamb 7, Yannick de Brabinder 8, Patrick Hayek 9 and Anthony Abbas of France completing the top 10. And as I read that, Paolo De Conto went past Ben Hanley, so Paolo De Conto is now 4th and Ben Hanley now 5th. That happened moments ago, and there's the change of lead, and Jonathan Tonon takes the lead early on lap 2, but Marco Ardigo fighting back, and this is 10/10ths driving by these drivers, and that change of position and the retake has enabled Arno Kozlinski in 3rd place and Paolo De Conti in 4th to close up on them. So we've now got a 4-driver front battle. Marco Ardigo, Jonathan Tonon, Arno Kozlinski and Paolo De Conto are the 1, 2, 3, 4. Kozlinski moves into 3rd place. No, he stays in 3rd place. Oh, and we've got the contact between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Utter disaster, and Marco Ardigo now, instead of having a close battle, is a long way clear because Jonathan Tonon, Arno Kozlinski and Paolo De Conto all touched and have lost massive places, and kart number 9, Rick Drazen, is now in 2nd place. Flavio Campaneschi way downfield sets the fastest lap, but he gains through. Now let's have a look at this battle. Marco Ardigo is okay. Arno Kozlinski in 3rd place, about to be passed. It would seem, no, Arno really just, well, just ploughed into Jonathan Tonon, it seemed, didn't he? But I make no comment as to where any fault lay. What I do say is that the outcome is that we've lost a really, really potentially good battle, because Marco Ardigo is now in a comfortable lead of 9/10ths of a second from Rick Drazen, who is a full second clear of Jordan Lennox-Lamb in 3rd place. Arno Kozlinski has managed to hold on to 4th, Anthony Abbas 5th, Yorick Peck 6th, Ben Hanley 7th, Paolo De Conto came out in 8th place, David Foré up to 9th, and Ricardo Negro completing the top 10. Bas Lammers, who was right at the back, or near as could be, is 18th from the back. Flavio Campaneschi from the back up into 14th place. Yannick de Brabinder dropped some places there, and kart number 5 gaining a place is Ben Hanley, is Yorick Pex. Yorick Pex gaining a place. That would put Yorick Pex up into 5th place in front of Anthony Abbas. Well, just trying to take in the significance of that very, very unfortunate coming together that involved 3 really good drivers in a scrap of 4 at the front. Marco Ardigo suddenly, having found himself in the cauldron, found himself well clear of Rick Drazen. However, Rick Drazen now sets a fastest lap. There is kart number 8 in 3rd place, Jordan Lennox-Lamb. Jordan Lennox-Lamb, CRG Works driver for 3 years, I think it is now. And kart number 2 chasing Jordan Lennox-Lamb is Anthony Abbas. Anthony Abbas driving a Sodi kart for the official Sodi kart team, and Anthony Abbas in 4th place. You see Jordan Lennox-Lamb there going down through the gears, getting a little bit of exaggerated movement. Marco Ardigo leading from Rick Drazen. Jordan Lennox-Lamb holding off the challenge of Anthony Abbas. 5th place driver in kart number 5 is Yorick Pex, and Paolo De Conte in 6th place in kart number 6 in shot there. Jonathan Tonon sets the fastest lap. He is in, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't do the count. Have to try and find that a little bit later on, as Jonathan Tonon is 27th place but sets the fastest lap. Well, there'll be a little bit of a post-mortem at the end of the race, no doubt, but hey, these things happen in karting. That's as much as we can do, but what I always say is nobody's going away to hospital, but somebody's going through into a place ahead of Jordan Lennox-Lamb, and the somebody is Yorick Pex. Sorry, the somebody is Anthony Abbas. So Anthony Abbas goes in front of Yorick Pex. Was in front of Yorick Pex, goes in front of Jordan Lennox-Lamb. Let me give you the call over so that you know what sort of nonsense I've been talking. Marco Ardigo leads from Rick Drazen. Anthony Abbas is 3rd. Jordan Lennox-Lamb 4th. Paolo De Conto 5th. Jorit Pek 6, Arno Kozlinski 7th, Ben Hanley 8th, David Foray 9, Mirko Torsolini completing the top 10, and Paolo De Conto in 5th place is quickest of them all with a time of 53.4. We had a 52.8 previously in the event. I think that was in the pre-final. We also had a 52.9 in one of the heats. Well, Marco Ardigo's lead is 0.7 of a second, but in shot there is kart number 6, Paolo De Conto, running in 5th place. Just in front of him is kart number 2, which is Anthony Abbas. But here is Marco Ardigo leading Rick Drazen, and your 3rd place driver, Anthony Abbas, in the Sodi kart comes into shot now. That is Marco Ardigo. That is Rick Drazen. Back to Marco Ardigo in the lead. Lovely close-up shot here. If you've got a nice big screen, you can see so much detail. Very smooth through the shifter box. Well, slightly less smooth there by Marco, just having a little crack there. Rick Drazen getting a little bit further adrift of Marco Ardigo. It was 0.70 of a second. It's now 0.75. But these two are well clear by over a second from our 3rd place driver, Anthony Abbas, 4th, Paolo De Conto, 5th, Jordan Lennox-Lamb, 6th, Jorit Pex. Ben Hanley, who was, I think, in 5th place, is running 7th at the moment. This is the end of lap 8 of a 23-lap final. Victor Oberg, who started stone last in 32nd place, makes it into the top 20 at number 20. Flavio Camponeschi, who climbed up to 14th place, is now out of the top 20, down in 21st place. 9 there, lovely shot of Rick Drazen in the Zanardi Perilla. Marco Ardigo, Rick Drazen, our featured driver for the immediate moment. Nice and smooth style. Following Marco Ardigo in 3rd place here is Anthony Abbas in the Sodi kart, but you tell me, is Paolo De Conto in kart number 6 getting a little bit closer? Well, there's part of the answer. He must be, because he was doing the fastest lap. So Paolo De Conto in 4th place in kart number 6, now putting the pressure on 3rd place driver Anthony Abbas. And we don't make predictions from this little commentary booth, but we would not be stunningly surprised if there's not an attempted pass on Anthony Abbas by Paolo De Conto in the near future. In the meantime, this is Rick Drazen in 2nd place on your screen. Here's that battle I'm talking about. Kart number 2, holding on to 3rd place is Anthony Abbas. Behind him is Paolo De Conto. 39 there, just having a little bit of a peep down, was Ricardo Negro. Ricardo Negro is in 11th place. Looks as if he might have had a little bit of a problem. Well, Paolo De Conto in kart number 6 has gone past Anthony Abbas, as we predicted, although I did say I don't want to make predictions, but it was pretty clear that Paolo De Conto was winding up for a passing move, which Anthony Abbas, good a driver as he is, and he is a good driver, was not going to be able to resist that. Paolo had just got more speed, and here on this karting Genk circuit, that was always going to tell. Jordan Lennox-Lamb is in 5th place in kart number 8. Jorit Pex is in 6th place in kart 5. And the race leader, not content with increasing his lead at the front, sets a fastest lap of 53.182. Marco Ardigo not hanging about. Marco Ardigo's 2 world titles were won at Marienburg, Belgium, in the French-speaking part of Belgium, and the 2nd title at La Conca in the south of Italy. Paolo De Conto in kart number 6 in a comfortable 3rd place now. Do like to see this shifter class where you see the hand movement, the gear changes, the shifting, just adds a little bit more of a dimension from the direct drive class. Marco Ardigo's lead is 1 1/4 seconds, and it's another 1 3/4 seconds behind Rick Drazen before we find Paolo De Conto. Although Paolo De Conto is getting a little bit closer, he must be, because he's just set a fastest lap. Paolo De Conto in front of Anthony Abbas, the Sodi kart emblem on the back of Anthony's race suit. This is 3rd and 4th we're watching. Jordan Lennox-Lamb is the driver just coming into shot in kart number 8. 6 is Paolo De Conto. 2 is Anthony Abbas. They're in shot. 1, Marco Ardigo. 9, Rick Drazen. They're 1 and 2. Followed by Paolo De Conto, 3rd. Anthony Abbas, 4th. Jordan Lennox-Lamb, 5th. Yorick Peck, 6th. Ben Hanley, 7th. Mirko Torsolini, 8th. David Foré, 9th. And Massimo Aceto of Italy drives into the top 10. Saro Cesetti, who started way at the back with Bas Lammers on row 15, is up into 14th place. A good drive by him. Well, just looking a little bit further down the chart, there's the top 20. We've lost Arno Kozlinski, Patrick Hayek, Freddie Carlson and Jeremy Iglesias. And Arno Kozlinski's disappointment manifest when we have a look at the championship points potentially lost. Arno Kozlinski, who had that really feisty dice with Marco Ardigo, not in a position to continue it after the collision that we saw early on that put Marco Ardigo way out in front. And to some degree we were the losers, weren't we, because we would have got a better race with those 3 top drivers in there. We still have a couple of them out on circuit, but not as close as they were. But we've lost Jonathan Tonen and Arno Kozlinski, and you have to think that there was some sort of damage as a result there. 14 going past 32 is Flavio Camponeschi, going past Simo Paharka for 12th place. So Flavio Camponeschi moves up from 13th to 12th. Simo Paharka, who started on the back row and got himself up to 12th place, actually loses a place to Flavio Camponeschi, but a good drive by the Finn in kart 32, notwithstanding. This is lap 15, the start of lap 15. Marco Ardigo, the official Tony Kart number 1, driving of course for the official Tony Kart racing team. Lovely shots by our CIK-TV cameramen, and if I'm praising the organisation that I'm currently working for, let me say that I have no contribution to the quality, the technical quality of these pictures, so I feel quite able to praise my technicians, my cameramen, my TV director, who are helping me help you by producing these fabulous pictures. Marco Ardigo, I won't say in a league of his own because there's some other good drivers here by far, but on this particular occasion, especially what happened early in the race, very much controlling, governing this particular race as we hit the 2/3 race distance and move on. Marco Ardigo's lead over Rick Drazen is 1.5 seconds, and there was no change of position in the top 9, but Bas Lammers drove into 10th place in kart number 4, having started 30th. So Bas Lammers has driven from 30th to 10th. If we do see kart number 4, and there is Jordan Lennox-Lamb squeezing past Anthony Abbas, and Anthony Abbas loses a little bit of speed as a result, and Yorick Peck's also putting a move on him. So Jordan Lennox-Lamb making a move from 5th to 4th, and Yorick Peck's seeking to heap some more misery on the Frenchman Anthony Abbas. But Marco Ardigo in no kind of trouble here, and it has to be said, Rick Drazen in 2nd place in no kind of problem, nor is Paolo De Conto in 3rd place. But Jordan Lennox-Lamb now in 4th, Yorick Peck's now in 5th, and Anthony Abbas, who was 4th 30 seconds ago, is now 6th in front of Ben Hanley 7th, Mirko Torsolini 8th, David Foré 9, and Bas Lammers in the top 10. This is number 9, Rick Drazen in shot now. Rick Drazen drives the Zanardi Perilla, and he races for the Zanardi team. He's from Belgium. Marco Ardigo sets the fastest lap at 53.05, the fastest lap of all this weekend of these KZs was a 52.8. Marco Ardigo in 53.0, not pressed it has to be said, setting off for another journey into the final quarter of this race. So 3/4 of the race is gone. We enter the 4th quarter. Marco Ardigo's margin over Rick Drazen, who we see now on screen, is 1.8 seconds. Rick Drazen has over 1.3 seconds on Paolo De Conto 3rd, and Jordan Lennox-Lamb is more than a full second back in 4th place. So whilst I want you to enjoy our racing, I can't lie to you and say that we've got some really close racing in the top 4 places, because we haven't. However, we do have some very, very quality drivers turning on a good display. Marco Ardigo is in shot there. This is Paolo De Conto. Marco Ardigo, Rick Drazen and Paolo De Conto, 1, 2 and 3. There is 4th place driver Jordan Lennox Lamb just going through the shot. This again is Paolo De Conto. Paolo De Conto drives a Birel TM for Birel Motorsport, and Paolo is of course an Italian driver driving for an Italian team. Jordan Lennox Lamb is a British driver driving a CRG for an Italian team. Paolo De Conto's Birel, the word Birel clearly on the back of his race suit and clearly on the fairing of the kart, but the Tony Kart logo very easy to identify there, and even at race speed our television camera pictures picking up the words Tony Kart, the word M. Ardigo. Yannick de Brabinder out of the top 20 sets a fastest lap at 53.02, and 53.02 is not hanging around on the karting Genk circuit, believe me. So Yannick de Brabinder, not where he would like to be on the track, but going really swiftly. Marco Ardigo's advantage coming up towards 2 full seconds on Rick Drazen. Mirko Torsolini up now to 8th, David Foré 9th. Bas Lammers in the top 10, would like to go a shade further. Simo Puharka, who started on the back row, running 13th. That's a good drive by the Finn. The lower order of the top 20, drivers who hadn't really shown any likelihood to be in the top half dozen or so, certainly not chasing a podium spot. So to that degree, the race going to form. Again, we just bemoan slightly the fact that we've lost top drivers like Arno Kozlinski and Jonathan Tonon. Marco Ardigo, first won a world title in 2007 and was good enough to defend it. We don't have a lot of world champions in karting who go on to successfully defend the title. Most recently, of course, it would be Nick de Vries in 2010 and 2011. Marco Ardigo, official works driver, a factory driver, call him what you will, professional kart racer. Not in the first flush of youth, but still with many racing years in front of him, you would imagine. A couple of laps to go, I think, now, so it's going to take a disaster of mega proportions to deprive Marco Ardigo of victory here at Karting Genk. Nice racing style, Marco Ardigo, nice and smooth. Does do a little bit of soaring with his hands. The glance over his shoulder was really sort of relaxed, wasn't it? Rick Drazen also having a relaxed look. And Anthony Abbas getting a little bit active with his hands. Anthony Abbas trying to get a place back on Mirko Torsolini, because Anthony Abbas was as far up as 4th at one stage, but is now running in 8th in front of Bas Lammers 9th and David Foré 10th. But we stay with Marco Ardigo in these late stages. This is lap 22. We've lost quite a few drivers on this 32-kilometre race, 20-mile race. Kart 8 in shot is Jordan Lennox Lamb. And Paolo De Conte, where is Paolo De Conte? Is falling away. Paolo De Conte, we saw that hand go up, and I didn't make reference to it, but the hand that went up was Paolo De Conte saying, I'm not under power. And since Paolo De Conte is not under power, he's not now in that 3rd place. He promotes Jordan Lennox Lamb to 3rd place as Marco Ardigo starts the final lap. Rick Drazen 2 seconds behind, and Jordan Lennox Lamb inheriting a slightly fortuitous 3rd place on the back of Paolo De Conto's real misfortune, it has to be said. There's the checkered flag. Marco Ardigo wins it.